Committee on Army between 2015 and 2019, Rima Kwewu, and the chairman, Plateau Peace Practitioners Network, Jacob Pwakim, join us on the news at 10. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Let's begin with you, Mr. Pwakim. As an association, how worried are you that despite the 24-hour curfew, tensions seem to still be rising in Mangu?
Okay, thank you very much and good evening. Condolences to Plateau people and all Nigerians. Yeah, it is a common knowledge that most times when curfews are imposed, there could still be attacks, most likely attributed to the fact that curfews could be mere political statements without the capacity to regulate how movements are being done. In time past, here on the plateau, we've heard of very severe cases where curfews are imposed, yet there are people who work with arms who go to attack communities that have defied most of this curfew. So basically, it is worrisome and it calls for really critical review to know, are curfews really the best response to security emergency situations? Do curfew really serve as advantage to others and disadvantage to the other party? But again, lives have been lost. The best that any governor could do is to see, okay, what is in the immediate. And that is why, as a network too, we're also concerned that beyond the killings right from 2001 up to this very moment that has escalated, what are those basic things that we can really do beyond what is currently happening so that we don't continue to be reactionary, wait for when next we're going to declare another curfew and all whatnot. So it is a very big concern to us and a call for the review of even the imposition of curfew, not just in Plateau and other places that governors have used as a way to engage any emergency.
All right, we'll get to take more suggestions from you as to what you think can be done to actually restore peace. But let me go to Mr. Kwewu. You know how sensitive really this accusation can be. But from your experience and interaction with the army, could there be any substance in the accusation that the military did not act when the attackers invaded these communities?
Well, it's a difficult question to answer because you have to have seen the reports by the communities and also the timing of those things before you come to that conclusion to know whether the military, the army in this case, acted in time or not. But just, I was a journalist in Jos. I reported for the Standard newspaper there in Jos in the 80s and also reported there for the BBC African Service. And I want to tell you that these problems have been there on the plateau for a very long time. And of recent, at least 12 local government areas have been affected so badly. A place like Bokos, for instance, a first-class traditional ruler was killed 1 or 2 years ago by a so-called gunmen or militias, and nobody was brought to book. You go to a place like Bassa local government area, which has which is the host to the 3rd Armored Division of the Nigerian Army. The area has been devastated by the so-called gunmen. So the question really is this: that why are these things particular to Plateau State, or they are spread across the country? Of course, where I come from, Taraba State, we still have a very big share of these attacks. Nearby Kaduna State, which shares boundary with Plateau State, has the same problems. And the press seem to have got tired of reporting what happens in Kaduna State. So they are no longer reported. But I want to assure you that even in Kaduna State, in the local governments bordering Abuja, people are kidnapped, people are killed, communities are razed down. The so-called headers of militia have told some communities just 7 minutes drive away from Bori that they should pack out of their communities. They should not be there. And farmers, some people who went back to those communities to go and harvest their crops were either kidnapped or killed. So this is a problem that if you look at if you look at Plateau State, take Plateau State only, you might miss the big picture of what we have in the country. We have a major problem that several communities, several areas in Nigeria, as of today, have become ungoverned spaces.
I hear you. Yes, I hear you, Mr. Kwewum. And, I would really like us to talk about solutions. We know that the military in this case has been deployed to that area, different outfits, to try to restore peace, to calm tensions and restore peace in that community. But how do we now restore confidence, public confidence in the military and in other security agencies working for the restoration of peace on the plateau?
Yes, I was coming to that the problem, you could say it's military, but it is not a military problem. The military is not supposed to be the first responders to problems like that. The police are supposed to be, if you look at in terms of the number of policemen and the number of military that we have, for every one soldier, you have 2 or 3 policemen. So the police have more numbers. They are supposed to be in those places. The law enforcement are supposed to work. Law enforcement in this case is not just kinetic force going to quell riots. If the military go there, what the military usually does, and that is what happens all over, is to make sure that they stop the two fighting, so to say. And then they go back. The people who have the mandate to maintain peace and maintain it is actually the police, who have divisional police in every local government headquarters of the country, and have police outposts in every section of the country. So I have said it a few times before, if we want to solve this problem, we have to go back to the basic issue of policing. One, the second about policing, I alluded to the fact that if you look at it, the first-class traditional ruler was killed. How many people were brought to book? The Bassa local government area was almost devastated. How many people from Bassa, from those areas, the so-called gunmen, have been brought to book? If you go to Riom, go to Jos East, go to Shandam. Shandam, of course, has its major problem. When Governor Joshua Dario was governor, that problem extended to Langtang and so forth. How many people have been brought to book? You don't just go and say you have stopped people from fighting, and whoever are responsible for these problems have not been brought to book, and you think that tomorrow some new people will not go back to do the same thing. Because the issue is that everywhere in the world, people are afraid of law enforcement because there are consequences. People obey laws because there are consequences of not obeying law.
Mr. Kwewum, in this present case now, actually, 9 persons have been arrested in connection with the renewed attacks, and we look forward to see how the police would actually prosecute this matter to the end. But then let's bring in Mr. Pwakim at this time. You have heard Mr. Kwewum mention the fact that the police should actually be at the forefront of this. But for you as a peace practitioner, what is the prospect of peace returning on the plateau?
Okay, basically, we're very hopeful, not just because we're believers, but we believe that for every conflict, whether it is conflict or an attack, there is the dialogue table is always available. But of course, the dialogue table cannot just be available when hostilities are still on. The dialogue table cannot be available when frantic efforts are not being made. We have to go back to the conversation around policing. And when we talk about policing, definitely we're also talking about issues of how we have to go back to the conversation around state police. Because yes, there have been allegations around compromise by the security forces, the challenges of maintaining the federal policing system, and how do we integrate the local context into policing. We have the vigilantes and other people who can really be the first responders, can also provide early warning and early response and some early response within the context of non-kinetic and how to keep communities safe. So on that part, we're looking at it. We're looking at it at that level. Then we're also looking at it from the angle of dialogue. Of course, we know that people are hurt, and people on the plateau and other places that have been affected by this say, oh, dialogue with who? We must also put into bear the fact that there are, when we look at the conflict happening across, it's not just in Plateau State, it is happening in Kaduna State, it's happening in Taraba, it is happening in other places. Yes, massive killings. It's as if the security is way out of control. But again, once we look at these issues context by context, we get to also understand that there are also rooms for dialogue. Because when you even say that who are the parties to the conflict, but we know that there are victims and there are perpetrators. And if you look at the topography of communities that have been attacked, you get to see that if communities are really at peace with each other, if community understand that the safety of each other depends on one another's effort, then they will definitely, if an attack is coming on the other way, there's a likelihood of them collaborating and to see, okay, how do they provide security information to security? While we really condemn mischievous conduct by suspectively security forces, we're also mindful of the fact that they are not spirits. They act on intelligence, and if intelligence is clear enough, they will definitely act. Notwithstanding the fact that there are rooms where people compromise on the basis of faith, ethnicity, and other primordial sentiments, even economic inducement. So for us, the security must also make efforts to see, okay, if there are rooms where people can compromise on their actions as security forces, how can they create the principle of accountability within managing this system? So you've sent security forces to a place. Can we come time to time to ask, what is the conduct of these security forces? While they know the state actors.
So you consider these questions as being very important and intelligence gathering. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ramamde Kwewum, former chairman, House of Reps Committee on Army, and Jacob Hwakim, chairman, Plateau Peace Practitioner Network, for talking to us on TVC News at 10. When the news at 10 returns.